thought there was too many things asking for my credit card. Hey, what's up y'all? It's Miles with the Minimum, back again on this fine Thursday with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about my Disney experience. So I'm really excited to talk about Disney because it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've been wanting to go to the 4 parks for a while now. And recently, this December, I was able to go, or December in 2021, forgive me, keep forgetting it's a whole brand new year. But yeah, ever since I graduated in 2019, I planned to go to all 4 parks. However, after I graduated, we had to move. And then y'all all know what happened in 2020. So the parks reopened in 2021. My parents helped me plan a trip this year, being in December. So I wanted to talk about my experience, but I also I wanted to give you guys my perspective as someone who's not able to go very often and someone who stayed off property. You know, I feel like a lot of the videos I've looked at, you know, a lot of them, they stay on property, so they talk about how you can get the most out of staying on Disney property and all of that. And I'm here to say I thought staying off property was cool. Like no, we weren't right in Disney, but the resort we stayed at actually wasn't very far and it was a lot less expensive. So like I said, we didn't stay on Disney property, we did stay at a nearby resort. It didn't take us very long to get to any of the parks, and yeah, just a lot less expensive. Disney is very expensive now.
Grown people should never laugh.
But enough of that. Let's talk about the parks, because the parks are obviously, you know, what everybody comes to Disney to do. So in today's video, I wanted to rank the parks, in my opinion. And none of the parks were bad. There wasn't a whole lot of negatives for any of the parks, really. I just felt more connected to certain parks. So coming in last would be Epcot, and Epcot, the competition is fierce. So Epcot just happened to be the last one in my ranking, but I really did enjoy a lot of Epcot. I loved Harmonious, first of all. You know, a lot of people are divided about the new nighttime shows, but I for one, I really enjoyed the feeling, the vocals, I loved the water things, the water rafts or whatever. That's probably the wrong word, but I really loved that show. I've rewatched it so many times, and on this trip I wanted to, because this was like a first for me, I had never been to Epcot, Hollywood Studios, or Animal Kingdom. It was really important to me that I didn't record and take pictures of every single thing. So I'll have a few pictures here and there. But yeah, for the most part, I don't have too many. But yeah, Epcot is last just because, you know, it is kind of a construction zone right now. They have a lot going on that's supposed to be opening in the future. That is why it had to be last, though. However, on the flip side, there was a lot of stuff I enjoyed. Like I mentioned, I really loved Harmonious, but they had some really cool rides too. My top 3 that I would definitely recommend if you've never been to Epcot before would definitely be Test Track. Well, you're in a Chevrolet car and then you know, drive around this track. I don't want to spoil too much for any of the rides, but I would definitely recommend that one. It's something everyone can do. You know, get a little wind in your hair, I guess. But Soarin' was also a very spectacular ride. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much for any of the rides, but I will say, yeah, if you have a hard time with heights, maybe skip this one, and I would say do Frozen Ever After, something that's more grounded and, you know, something that everyone can do, but you'll probably end up waiting a long time for Frozen. But yeah, for me, it would be Soarin'. Lastly, I would also suggest Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. That ride was so cool. So if you haven't seen Ratatouille, it's basically based off a rat named Remy who likes to cook. And on the ride, you're shrunk down to the size of a rat, running through a kitchen, and you smell all the food. You get like mop water, not real mop water, but there's like water. There's like some 4D effects. A very nice addition to Epcot. Epcot also has a lot of good food. I did eat at the Sand and Hell Inn. It's a very like well-themed restaurant. However, the food was good, but you're really going there for the atmosphere, if that makes sense. But that is located in the Mexico Pavilion, and if you don't know what I mean by pavilion, Epcot has an area. It has an area called World Showcase that is made up of 11 countries, and Mexico. I mean, there's Mexico, there's America, there's Morocco, Canada, and a few others, but. Yeah, definitely a lot of good places to eat. And that actually goes into my big tip for Epcot. If you're visiting for the first time, I would recommend heading straight to World Showcase and doing everything else after, because yeah, the big rides, Remy's and Frozen Ever After are actually located in World Showcase, and not to mention there's a lot of detail and there's a lot to experience throughout the rest of the like Epcot pavilion. So yeah, definitely recommend that. Head to World Showcase and then do everything else as the day goes on. Park number 3 would be Hollywood Studios for me. I have Hollywood Studios number 3 just because it didn't have that same feeling of walking into the park as the other parks. You know, you walk into Magic Kingdom, you have the castle as you're walking down Main Street, and then Animal Kingdom, you have the gigantic, beautiful, you know, Tree of Life. And then even Epcot, you have the sphere that lights up at night, and it's just really cool on its own. But Hollywood Studios has some of the best rides within Walt Disney World. So that is why it's a step above Epcot. Not saying Hollywood Studios is so much better than Epcot. I really do enjoy the parks on the same level mostly. But there are some things that give an edge to some of the other parks. But yeah, back to Hollywood Studios. The rides I would recommend as must-dos would definitely be Rise of the Resistance. This is a ride that opened recently with Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, it's a very cool ride. The whole experience is about 18 to 20 minutes, I believe. You know, even when you're not on the ride, there's a really cool pre-show. I have so many good things to say about it. Even if you don't like Star Wars, I feel like you would really like this ride. However, for us, when we did go, it did break down while we were in line, and the ride usually gets a really long wait. It was already at a 110-minute wait when we got there, and we got there when the park opened. And yeah, we waited about an extra hour. So that was definitely an experience on its own. But yeah, a very well done ride. The next ride I would recommend is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This is another newer ride. It's not the most thrilling, it's not the most exciting, and I know a lot of people have sour feelings because it did replace the Great Movie Ride. I never had the chance to experience that myself, but Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a really nice family ride. You get to see Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald, Daisy, Pluto. Yeah, poor Pluto chasing Mickey and Minnie throughout the ride, but I thought it was really fun. I thought the special effects were really cool. Yeah, and you don't need 3D glasses, and as someone who, you know, wears regular glasses, that was a relief because sometimes they just didn't, putting on 3D glasses just didn't fit very well, so that's something to maybe keep note of. But yeah, I really like this attraction. And the next would be Slinky Dog Dash. Now, all of Toy Story Land was so cool. It was so well themed, so immersive. You're supposed to be like a toy in Andy's like in his like toy box, or I don't know, like his toy set or whatever. But yeah, you see this big like statue of Woody as you're walking in, and then you see Rex, Jessie, Buzz. Yeah, they have 3 rides and then like 1 restaurant. Yeah, definitely my favorite part of Hollywood Studios. Now, as far as Galaxy's Edge, I did want to talk about Galaxy's Edge because I feel like a lot of people have mixed feelings about this land. A lot of hardcore Star Wars fans don't care for it too much because it is based off the like what is it, the sequel trilogy rather than the rather than the trilogy that kind of started everything with Darth Vader, Luke, and Leia. And I will say, I do think it was a strange decision, being that Star Wars is so popular and so many people are more familiar with Darth Vader, Han Solo, and those other characters. But I realized, you know, Disney took over Star Wars when they included Rey, Kylo Ren, and all of them. So no, I understand, but I do wish there was more for the older Star Wars fans. And also in Galaxy's Edge, one thing I didn't really like was there were so many experiences I felt like I had to pay for, or I mean, you did have to pay for. There's the lightsabers for $200, the Droid Depot for $100, and then, I mean, they did have two pretty good rides, but, you know, other than that, like, you have some photo op experiences. But yeah, I feel like for Star Wars they could have definitely done a little bit more. I know they have the Star Cruiser opening up, but that's another very expensive experience, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I just wanted to throw that in there. I did enjoy Hollywood Studios and I liked everything I did. But yeah, for Galaxy's Edge, I thought there was too many things asking for my credit card. So my tip here would definitely be get Genie Plus. I'll talk about Genie Plus a little more later on in my video, but yeah, you will definitely need it for this park. We went the week before Christmas, and it actually wasn't too busy. Crowds weren't that bad, but it's Disney. There's going to be people regardless, and yeah, Hollywood Studios definitely did have enough people to make it a bit challenging to do some of the more popular attractions, so definitely get Genie Plus if you're planning on heading to Hollywood Studios. Number 2 in my ranking of the parks would be Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is that iconic park. It's the most classic. It's the park everyone thinks of when they think of Magic Kingdom, or when they think of Walt Disney World. Yes, of course they think of Magic Kingdom if it's Magic Kingdom, but anyway, it felt so good to like walk in and then walk down Main Street and then see the castle. We actually went when it was a little bit foggy, which I don't know, it actually like looked cooler that way. But yeah, Magic Kingdom, it's that iconic classic park. They have so much to do there. But my favorite attractions would be Space Mountain. Space Mountain was so fun. It's a roller coaster in the dark. Yeah, I mean, that sounds cool on its own. And then my next favorite ride was the Haunted Mansion. This was my first time ever doing Haunted Mansion, and a lot of the effects for that ride, I would have thought the ride was made a few years ago. I don't know when the ride was made, but it seems like it was made recently, because I thought the effects on that ride were really impressive. And then next was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. We were able to get a Genie Plus reservation for this ride, which I would recommend, because yeah, it does get a really long wait. I think it was at a 70 to 80 minute wait when we got to the ride. But like I said, we did have the Genie Plus reservation. We were able to get on it pretty fast, and it was a pretty good ride. It's not the most thrilling or exciting. However, for me, I did really enjoy the theming of Snow White. I like seeing Snow White get a ride. But yeah, it was a fun attraction. There's a lot of details. I loved when you're going up a lift and then you hear the Hi-Ho theme song. I thought that was so cool. But yeah, atmosphere and theming is definitely a 10 out of 10 here, or 10 out of 10 in Magic Kingdom. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about here? I do not live in Florida, y'all. But yeah, my number one tip though would be, don't expect to do everything. There is like I said, there's so much to do in Magic Kingdom. You are not going to be able to, you know, do everything you want to do. So just keep that in mind. Maybe you can. Maybe you are going to be able to do that. But the way Disney is now, where there's not really an off season, it's going to be really difficult. So just expect to miss a few rides. For me, I did miss Splash Mountain, which I was really hoping to do, because I know there's some talk about it being rethemed to Princess and the Frog, and I really wanted to get on the original Splash Mountain before they, you know, did that, whenever they're doing that. But something that did surprise me though was Tom Sawyer Island. I didn't even know that existed, but yeah, it's like this little island in Frontierland. You take like a small boat, a short boat ride there, and it's this whole like I said island, and there's caves, there's like a fort there. It's really cool. I would definitely recommend that too. That was I meant to include that for my honorable mention for Magic Kingdom. And Magic Kingdom does actually have a new nighttime show as well that debuted in October for the 50th anniversary. It's called Enchantment, another divisive nighttime spectacular. Alright, and lastly, you guys, as you probably already guessed, my favorite #1 park would be Animal Kingdom. Yeah, Animal Kingdom was amazing. I've always been an animal lover, and I just felt really connected with this park. I love the message of, you know, conservation and, you know, learning to respect the species we live with, you know. But not only what it stands for, I mean, the land, or the park itself is just so beautiful, like really breathtaking. Like, they did such a good job, like building this park, the Tree of Life. So much better in person. I had been looking at so many YouTube videos of all the Disney parks, but just yeah, for all the parks actually, they were so much cooler in person. Theming, the immersion, yeah. Or, you know, all the parks had some level of immersion. Obviously, you know, it's Disney, they want you to feel like you're a part of the story, but Animal Kingdom by far did it the best in my opinion. You have Africa, where you feel like Africa being the like land in Animal Kingdom, but it almost feels like you are actually in an African city. And then you have the safari ride, and then you have the Festival of the Lion King, which is so good. And then you have Asia, which is really well done as well. That had one of my favorite rides, Expedition Everest. That's a really cool ride. Probably I think it's the tallest ride in Walt Disney World, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and then it goes backwards too. Like, that was really crazy. Yeah, it was just so cool being able to experience everything. And I feel like Animal Kingdom definitely is, you know, just one of those parks you go to experience and take everything in, the sights, the sounds, and then, you know, and the rides too. And then I can't talk about Animal Kingdom without talking about Pandora. Yeah, it's so that land is really cool. They have like the floating mountains or whatever, and then you have the Navi River journey. It wasn't my favorite ride, but it definitely made you feel like you were part of that world. And then the incredible Flight of Passage. Now, there is no ride like that. Like, that ride was I was speechless when I got off that ride. Just it's hard to explain, but it is a simulator ride. So you might feel a little bit motion sick if that's not your thing, but that ride, you have to do it. Like, if you come to Disney World and you plan on coming to Animal Kingdom, definitely prioritize Flight of Passage. You might have to wait a while if you can't secure a Genie Plus reservation, but it'll be worth it, trust me. And also, what I like about Animal Kingdom, it's not very hard to navigate the park. It's easy to get a lot done. However, I was not able to do Cali River Rapids, which I'm kind of upset about, just because it was closed for refurbishment. It is a water ride, and water rides usually do go down during the winter, so understandable. And I also didn't do Rafiki's Planet Watch. I just that would have taken a lot of time out of our day. Like, you have to take a train ride to this kind of far out section of Animal Kingdom. Something we did get to do that I'm very glad we did was Dinosaur. That ride is so fun. And it really wasn't what I was expecting. Most of the ride you are in the dark, but it's such a cool ride. Like, so many things you just have to experience for yourself. You can look at as many videos as you want online, but actually getting on these rides, seeing these shows, it's just so much better in person. And yes, Dinosaur is definitely a good example. The tip for Animal Kingdom, I would say, is to definitely take your time. That's really for any Disney park though, but definitely with Animal Kingdom, just because there's so many details and there's so many things you might miss if you don't take the time to look for. Like, they have animal trails, and then they also have exhibits near the front of the park. So yeah, definitely just take your time and try and look for something And also remember you're on vacation, so don't stress yourself out running around trying to get to this ride, get to this attraction, get to this show. If something doesn't go right, there's plenty of other stuff to do. So now that I have covered all the parks, I did want to talk about some things I didn't really like about my trip, and the first one being Genie Plus. As I mentioned, yes, we are finally going to get into Genie Plus. Now, this is a newer service that arrived, I believe, in 2020, where you do have to pay $15 per day if you do want to skip some of the lines. There is also an upcharge for some of the more popular attractions, ranging from $17 to $15 additional dollars for the more popular rides.
Hey guys, this is Editing Miles, and I just wanted to make sure I said that Genie Plus is not required. You do not have to purchase
so
it.
Something to keep in mind. But yeah, it was just, I mean, I'll be honest, it was kind of annoying to have to pay that every day, and then, you know, the additional fee for some of the more popular rides. And then something to note actually is Genie Plus opens earlier to resort guests. So if you're not staying on property, you will have to wait until the park actually opens, and sometimes that might mean missing out on some of the Genie Plus reservations because they're all booked by resort guests. So keep that in mind, but I still would recommend staying off property just because it's much cheaper, and if you find a resort that's close to the parks, it's not going to change your experience all that much, in my opinion. Another big thing that I didn't really like was the whole fill in any space. You know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, as you're getting on most of the rides in Walt Disney World, there will be a cast member who kind of has to corral people to make sure that they're not leaving any space. They want to make sure people are able to get on rides. However, it was kind of conflicting with, you know, the idea of wearing a mask. You know, you have to, at least right now, I believe, you do have to wear a mask at all indoor locations, and I believe as you're in line for most rides. So it was, I don't know, it's like wear a mask, but then get as close as you can to the person next to you. Very weird. I realized the cast members were just doing their job, so I'm not mad at them, but that was something we encountered a lot. You know, a cast member being like, if there's space, you know, fill it in, and I don't know, it was just kind of weird. Now lastly, one of the most stressful parts of our vacation was exiting the Magic Kingdom. Now imagine you've had a very fun-filled day, it's the end of the night, you just saw the fireworks, and now it's time to leave. Except note that Magic Kingdom is separate from like the parking lot, so you can't just call a Lyft or just get in your car and go. You do have to wait for a ferry or a monorail to take you back to the parking lot, and you know, everyone else is doing that as well, and there's a lot of people in the Magic Kingdom. So yeah, people are tired, people are a little cranky, sweaty. Yeah, definitely an experience I wish I could forget. But yes, exiting the Magic Kingdom, be prepared for that if you are planning on staying all day. I think that does it for all the negatives. Generally, I had a really good time in Disney. But yeah, those are just a few things. And I would actually like to say, unfortunately, I feel like Disney isn't really for families anymore. When I was able to go, when I just went on this recent trip, it was just me and my mom, so that made it a bit easier to, you know, get the Genie Plus reservations, because it was $30 per day for us, which isn't too bad. But I can't imagine, you know, bringing your whole family and then having to pay $15 for everyone and then worry about that upcharge. Like that's just crazy. And you know, there's 6 people in my family, so that would have added up really fast. So I would say yes, if you're planning on coming with your family, definitely save up as much as you can. God bless if you are coming here with a big family. That it's going to be a lot of money, not to mention, you know, there's photo pass, and then also, you know, food, transportation, Genie Plus now you have to worry about. But yeah, I don't want to get too negative because I did really have a good time, but I would just like to say, yeah, staying off property was really beneficial for us, and I would recommend that to other people. I've heard that the Disney resorts don't have as many perks as they used to. So I would, do your own research. Whatever works for me might not work for you. But that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you've been to a Disney park recently. What was your experience? What was your favorite ride, your favorite park? Or if you live out of the country, have you ever been to any of the, Disneyland Paris, Disneyland Shanghai, Hong Kong, any of those? Yeah, let me know what your experience was like, and of course, leave a like, a comment, or subscribe if you're new watching my channel. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. I see you guys next Thursday.